Hi everyone. We've been talking about the rock cycle this week. When we read our science books or science articles, we'll come across diagrams. Diagrams can explain something with a picture or structure that could take an entire paragraph or more to explain in writing. This is a diagram of the rock cycle. When I look at a diagram, I first try to take in the whole picture. In this case, I can see it as a representation of the Earth, a cross-section of the interior and exterior. We can see here we have the sky, we have some landforms here with mountain ranges, volcanoes, we have some water here. Then through here we can see that we're looking more at the interior of the Earth with the different layers, magma, heat rising up. Once I look at the whole picture, then I start looking at something like the words that are in bold first. That's kind of telling me it's probably the most important thing here. We have been talking about the rock cycle, so it makes sense here that we can see sedimentary rock, metamorphic, igneous. Now here I see there's igneous in two different places, and one says it's intrusive and the other one says it's extrusive. So I can infer with this, just based on what I already know and what I can see here, that probably intrusive, see the in, and it seems to be interior of the Earth. So it's probably igneous rock that is on the inside of the Earth. I look here, extrusive, X, it's up above on the landmass, the exterior Earth. So I can probably infer there that we have igneous rock that is interior and igneous rock that is exterior. Next thing I look at here is I notice there's some words and there's some arrows pointing in different directions. So I start up here. We can see here weathering, erosion. We've been discussing that in class about the rock cycle. Arrow showing it kind of moving down using words transport, deposition. We do know that as rock moves and breaks apart and becomes deposited, it starts to settle. So here we see that's where it's settling right there. As the arrows kind of move down into Earth, they use words like compaction, cementation. This is telling us that as that sedimentary rock has been sitting and being pushed more and more and become more condensed, we eventually do get that full sedimentary rock. At this point, I notice there's arrows going back up to the exterior of the Earth here, and then we also see some coming down here. The words here as I go up say slow lift to the surface, which implies that even the interior layers can be pushed back up, so this rock here can actually come back up to the surface. It also shows here words like burial, high temperature and pressures. So we can see if that rock does continue to be pushed down and that pressure and that temperature builds up, eventually we could end up with the metamorphic rock. At this point, we have a couple arrows again too. We have the arrows going here saying melting, magma, and then more arrows going up to the surface. So it says that through this, it is not just a one-way cycle for the rocks. It says that they can actually take a couple different paths and end up in different ways. So once we go through here, let's follow this along here. The metamorphic rock gets up through here. It is heated up to the point where it melts again. As it comes out, and here we say the intrusive igneous rock. So here this is still under the crust, and then this one here coming up like through the volcano, the extrusive igneous rock. So we can see that there's probably some differences here. If this is still having some pressure put on it, still some heat compared to this, how fast it cools perhaps in here compared to here, and what we might see with that. So with this whole diagram, it helps explain that rock cycle we've been talking about in one clear picture. And if we can follow kind of through there, we can actually have a better understanding of it. And there's your rock cycle.